Podcast Strategies, episode 77. Best practices for backing up and storing your episode files. Hey everybody, I wanted to pop in real quick today and just give you some tips on the best practices for storing and backing up your episodes and their audio files and the Audacity sessions and everything you use to create them. But before I do that, I wanted to give you a really quick heads up about the Cyber Monday deal that I have coming up. Recently, I presented my LinkedIn course as part of the Podcasters Kit. You may have seen it. It was a group of podcasting experts and people like me who work in the podcast industry who came together to present a bunch of knowledge products for sale for a very inexpensive price. Unfortunately, it's no longer available, but if you missed out on it, you'll get the chance to grab my course and some other things. If you don't know about my LinkedIn Learning course, over 10,000 people have taken it now on LinkedIn Learning, and it's basically a soup to nuts, A to Z how-to checklist on how to start and produce your first podcast. So I presented that course as a live 2-hour session as part of the Podcasters Kit, and it had a great 20-minute Q&A session at the end as well. I will be selling that course for $59 on Cyber Monday, and I'm going to add as a bonus the 12 hours of interviews that we did as part of the Podcasters Kit Virtual Summit Kickoff. In addition to me on that summit, you'll hear from people like Jenny Wren and Joel Sharpton and other podcasting experts that participated in Podcasters Kit. So keep an eye out for that. You'll be seeing some social media posts from me and emails if you're on my email list coming up to Cyber Monday in about a week and a half from now. So let's dive in now to the storage and backup. Now, this may sound like a pretty boring topic, but it's actually one of the most important topics for you to think about when you are podcasting, when you're starting a podcast. It's very easy to lose episodes. It's very easy for hard drives to fail and for you to lose what is very important. You may, 6 months after you air an episode, want to go back and replay an episode or grab a clip from an episode, and you go back and you find out that it's no longer there or your hard drive has failed that you had it on. So I'm going to talk about best practices today to try and prevent that situation. I've been doing this professionally for over 10 years now, and in my 10 years, I've had 2 or 3 hard drives fail. So I've been there. I know what it feels like to hear those noises or to try to open up a hard drive that you've not used in a year or two to retrieve something and it just not work. So here are the things you need to think about. First off, if you are recording your show to the internal hard drive on your computer, you need to stop now. The first thing you need to do is go out and get an external hard drive. And here's the reason why. Most internal hard drives are already busy. They are overworked. They have the operating system on them, and they are trying to run the operating system for the entire computer from that hard drive. Trying to record audio or video, which are very resource heavy tasks that a computer does, is asking for disaster. You're asking for errors. You're asking for the hard drive to crash. You're asking for the computer to crash in the middle of an amazing interview that you're doing with some famous person. So go out and get an external hard drive now and start recording to that drive. And once you start recording to that drive, and it can be a solid state drive, it can be a disk, it doesn't matter. But as long as you are recording to that drive, you're in a good situation. Then what you need to do is get another external hard drive and periodically clone the external hard drive that you're using to record. I generally do this once a day or once every other day, just to make sure that I always have a local copy of the hard drive that I'm using. Now for me, because I run a business and I have 30 clients whose shows I'm responsible for and I need to make sure I have them, I do some other things. I have a backup a clone that I do once a week that I store off-site, that I take and put in a safety deposit box, just to make sure that at any one time I wouldn't lose more than a week's worth of work. I go even a step further, and that is with a cloud backup. Now, this is a very easy thing that you can do as well. You don't necessarily need to think about having a backup drive and a safety deposit box somewhere. There are services out there that will actually back up your local hard drives, your internal hard drive, and any external drives you have connected to your computer to the cloud. The service I use is called Backblaze. It is very affordable, and it automatically runs in the background while you're working to constantly back up anything you've worked on. I recommend it highly, and I'll have a link in the show notes so you can check them out. Now, if all else fails and you continue to record your internal hard drive and things crash and you lose everything, at least as a podcaster, one solution you have is that your hosting platform, my platform that I prefer is Libsyn. Libsyn always has the master file that I published to my RSS feed available. You can always download that. So if you want to go back 3 years and pull up an episode to share with your audience, and you no longer have that locally, or the file was trashed a long time ago, you can always go to your hosting platform, pull down the master file, and work from that. However, you have to remember that that's a finished file. If you have music fading out over some talking, you wouldn't be able to remove that music from the talking. So that's why I say it's always good to have backups, the external hard drives, the clones, and the cloud backups. So I hope this was helpful today. I hope these tips help you save yourself from some heartache in the coming months if you were to happen to have something crash. I'll put some links in the show notes so that you can check out some of the things I'm talking about. There's another service I use to do my clones called SuperDuper. I didn't mention that earlier, but I'll include a link to them as well. And again, don't forget to check out my Cyber Monday deal coming up, where I will be selling my LinkedIn course along with 12 hours of interviews from the Podcasters Kit Kickoff Virtual Summit. So thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next week.